raising funds for a variety of charities where we make a difference, and also looking at membership and how we can recruit in the long term. Perhaps one of the most outstanding events from a point of view of working with other clubs, from the point of view of local publicity, was World Polio Day. Seems ages ago now, but that was in October, where I worked with Leicester Novus throughout, had great help from people within the club. And I was also lucky enough to work with another charity called Good Gym, who were effectively the runners that ran between a mosque, 2 temples, and then back to the cathedral. We had the Lord Mayor, Lord Lieutenant, and it was a great success and a really enjoyable evening. So that helped me working with other clubs. It helped also to support World Polio as well. Another event which unfortunately didn't take place, and it was a lovely day, which is typical, was the 13th of June, which was Music in the Park, where we were working and will continue to work, I'm hopeful, for the future with the Rotary Club of Wigston. That is something that we're planning to do for next year. This year, we managed to raise £2,500 from Next as a donation to Loros, and that has still gone ahead. So although the event didn't take place, we still managed to raise funds for charity. A local event, a local charity, was the one where we worked in a barbecue, and there's Colin, our immediate president now, and David, and we managed to run the barbecue there. We raised £1,000, which foundation grant doubled to £2,000, and I was able to present much needed funds to the RDA. So that was a great success. The other thing, perhaps less successful from my perspective, was running marathons. I did 2 during the year, one in London, the other in Chester. Raised over £4,000 that went directly to those charities, to Age UK. I missed my sub 4-hour target for the marathon by 18 seconds. So that still haunts me to this day. Age UK, we also raised more money through me being Father Christmas. Had a lot of publicity. Leicester, the Radio Leicester had a word with me. Lots of people came up to me, and lots of shots of me that appeared with younger people, surprisingly, because of the Father Christmas outfit. So thanks for all of those who helped on that day. Another event into January now was the Medics Murdering Mozart. And in fact, when I put not in brackets, it wasn't anything murdering Mozart. It was a great afternoon. Our own Richard Power was excellent and very understated. And from that, we've again been able to raise money to help with the health action in Leicester and Ethiopia, and also funds that we've now shared to help our sister club, Guimarães, where we've now raised, I think, about £1,600 for them, and that's going to be matched with a foundation grant of $1,500. So those were the events that I was able to go through and really enjoy. Disability games were cancelled because of COVID. Music in the Park, as I've said, was cancelled, and my Rotary Golf Am was cancelled. So it's very sad that that those events had to be cancelled. But what has pleased me is that during the COVID outbreak, our club has raised funds of in excess of £9,000, or closer to £10,000, which has enabled us to provide funds to Age UK for their food bank to help with the shelving there and some freezers. I think that was about £3,600, and 14 beds to help Charity Link, one of the charities that Colin promoted last year. So we have been able to do a lot during COVID. We have been very generous donations from our members, and we've still got about £3,600, which Mark Simpson and the Benevolent Committee will be deciding on how to distribute all of it to go for charities involved with helping people during COVID-19. So I think as a year, it's been a strange year. It's been one that I've enjoyed. I've met people, done things that I would never have done in my life without Rotary being behind me. I enjoyed the trip to the district conference. And again, it gave me a great insight into Rotary. The one objective that I felt I didn't achieve an awful lot with was membership. We've sadly lost some very valuable members during the course of the year. People who have been long serving, too many, in fact, have lost their lives during the course of the year. So my thoughts go to them and to their families. I'm hoping that COVID-19, whilst it's been terrible for many and for us as a club, it has been inspirational in one sense, in that I've been amazed and heartened by how many of our members have used technology, have been able to work with us on our online meetings. And I think from a membership perspective, the good side of that will be that it will be used in the future to enable members to keep in touch, those that perhaps have got work commitments, perhaps those that are too ill to attend. And I'm hoping that that will, in the longer term, be helpful to membership, to making sure that we retain our members as well as get new members. So there's been a lot of good things in my year, some sad things, but a year that I'll always remember. I'm very grateful to all of those that have helped me. We have raised funds, surprisingly, during the course of the year with the help of Foundation of in excess of £20,000. Foundation has been particularly helpful across a number of the projects that we've had, and it just shows why it's so important that we continue to support Foundation. And apart from raising the funds that we have also managed to meet our donation target for Rotary Foundation of about £4,800. So all in all, in spite of it being a very difficult year due to the generosity of our members and some fundraising and foundation, we've still managed to meet our commitments from a charitable point of view as well. So in the future, we are lucky that we've got Palm Deep and Scott to follow, who will help us with our technology, and I'm sure that the club will be in great hands. So I wish, in particular, Palm Deep well, and I would again thank everybody who's helped me during my year. There is one final thing that I need to do, I'm told, and that's to present a tarot pin. And there have been lots of people who have helped me, as I've mentioned, across a number of those projects. But one person has stood out for me as a great help, not just to me, but to the club as a whole during the course of a very difficult year. He's someone who is well organized. He's someone who has been great at communication, and is someone who has been with me every single step of the way throughout the whole of my 12 months. And that person is Barry Davis. And I'd like to present him with the tarot pin, which I think Bob Collins will be passing to him whenever is possible. But thank you, everybody, and thank you, Barry, for all the help you've given me. So over to you, Palm Deep, now.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Is my mic working okay?
Yep.
Yes, okay, fantastic. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to show a video of Chris and I doing the handover of the President's Jewels. So I'm just going to try and play that for you. Hopefully that comes out okay. We did manage to do it on a socially distanced basis, so it was all safe and secure. Give me 1 second. Share screen, put it on YouTube.
So,
there we go. I'm just going to pause that.
So,
Right, welcome everybody. I've had an enjoyable year as president, even though it's been very challenging over the past few months. It gives me great pleasure now to be the perhaps first president ever to do a virtual handover of the presidency to Palm Deep. So it gives me great pleasure now to hand my chain of office to Palm Deep on a socially distanced basis, and I will place it on the table. And Palm Deep, if you would like to take over.
Thank you, Chris. We'll just try and hook this in as best I can. I very much appreciate your kind words. I look forward to continuing your legacy. I think you've done a great job this year, and I hope to do my very best for the club this year. Yeah, although it's been pretty trying times, and we have some very good ideas for this year, and I look forward to taking them forward with the support of the group, and obviously having you on board as a mentor, I really appreciate too. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much, Mandeep. I wish you every best as president.
Thank you. All right, hopefully you all managed to catch that. So that worked out well in the end, and it's kind of strange times, I suppose, and hopefully the first and last time we'd need to do that as a club, but it managed to work out okay. So I was quite shocked actually, Chris, when you told me the value of the chain of office. It was, I think it's insured for about £15,000 or something. So I did say to Barry afterwards, it's the most valuable thing in my house, apart from the house itself. So I'll keep it very safe indeed. Right, so at this point, I'd just like to recognise some guests and visiting Rotarians. We do have Eddie Pearson. Where's Eddie? The ADG. Where are you, Eddie? I just saw you. Oh, there we are. Hello, Eddie. Good to have you on board.
Nice to meet you all. Hopefully meet in the flesh shortly. Hope so.
Look forward to it. Thanks for joining us. We also have Roger and Diana White. I can see there in the top left. Welcome on board. Good to have you here. Okay, so I will do my sort of plan for the year at this point. So I'll just bring up some notes I've made.
Can I just mention the other guest, please?
Sure.
or remind you of the other guest, Colin Derrick.
Oh, sorry, Colin. How can I reach you? There you are. It's because you're not talking, you see. Do you want to unmute yourself and say hi? Let me just unmute you 1 second. There, you need to press something to unmute yourself.
Unmute myself.
There we go. There we go.
It's, as you say, it's very strange times that you're taking over on, and if a year starts with a almost like brief encounter, you reminded me of, is it Cecily Johnson and Trevor Howard, the two of you there on that little film. I wish you all the very best for your year, Palm Deep.
Thank you, Colin.
And how could I miss today when I asked you 3 years ago to take this post, and doesn't time go so quickly?
Yes, and I've got a mention of that in my yes. I'm still thank you for doing that. Yes, Richard.
I just wonder whether Roger and Diane would like to say a quick word about Jaipur and the state with where we are with that, and also about our role in it.
Well, yes, thank you, President Palm Deep. I'll try and do this very quickly. We, as I mentioned to some of you, Diane and I visited your club last November when you had visitors. Now, District Governor nominee Azab was a guest of Richard's. The situation, as you will know, is that, and thanks to John Saunders for raising the issue with me before my own district did, the trustees of the foundation, as you're probably all aware, changed the rules on us at the end of May. So the 50% match for club and cash donations for global grants was to be eliminated. I'm pleased to say we got the global grant application into the Rotary Foundation on June the 8th. It needed 12 authorizations from various people. We got those completed by the 22nd of June. And the most encouraging thing so far was that on the 1st of July, I got an email from TRF asking some questions on the application, which at least meant that they had been looking at it. I spoke to the representative who looks after Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Sudan, and went through the questions with her. I replied to all of them. She has acknowledged that she's got them, so we believe we are at least a good way along the review process. That's not to be assured of success, but I believe that having got it to that point, it's a good sign. The big problem at the moment, as some of you will be aware, is that there is extreme tension in Ethiopia, which has created a blackout on internet, which happened to coincide exactly with the need for the Ethiopian Rotarians to reauthorize the global grant application, and that blackout still exists. However, TRF have confirmed to me that that does not slow down their review, and that they would, if it came to that, approve it with the proviso that those authorizations were still needed. So we're not slowing the process, which again is my experience. I expect John would support this. Is a further example of just how good and easy it is to work with the Rotary Foundation, and how good and positive the people who work there are. So fingers crossed, everyone. We believe that it is, we believe it's going to go forward. You may be interested to know, if I can just take 30 seconds more, the training element in that may not be able to be done because of COVID and travel restrictions, but we're already exploring some very sophisticated distance training methods involving what are called smart glasses, which actually enable people to teach. But it's really distance. It's telemedicine, really. And we've had a very comprehensive demonstration of this equipment. The company is in Antwerp, and TRF have also confirmed that if we get to the point where we cannot continue to do the normal training, they would be amenable to us transferring the training budget to paying for this equipment instead. So we're about as far along as we can be, and again, thank you for your club and your sister club, De Montfort, for their support, as well as obviously your district. But thank you for the time to tell you about it.
It's great to hear that you're working through these complex issues. It seems like you're doing a very good job, so keep it up. Well done. I'd also like to recognise Louise as well. I can see that you're on, but can't see your face anymore. But I think maybe you were in the car before, so good to have you on again, Louise. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and give my update, if that's okay, and nothing else to add from members. And then Eddie will have you on just after that, if that's all right. Yeah, great. Okay, so I'll start by saying it seems like only yesterday that I typed the words volunteering Leicester into Google, and up came the Leicester Rotary Club, and I fired off a message through the website. That was actually 7 years ago now, and a few months had passed since I sent off that fateful email on that day, and I had nothing back, so I'd kind of forgotten about Rotary. And it was actually during a volunteering stint at the Peter Jones Academy, which some of you may have heard of. It's an academy set up in Leicester by the Dragon, the guy on the TV program, Peter Jones, where they take young people and help them become more entrepreneurial and set up businesses. And I volunteered there along with David Howard from the club. And I got talking, and he mentioned Rotary, and I said, "Oh, I sent you guys an email, but I haven't had anything back." So he said, "Right, I'll get that straightened out." And within a couple of weeks, he'd got me an interview with John Saunders and Rodney Spokes, and I was soon a member. So, and what really attracted me to Rotary was the potential to make lifelong friends with a group of local people like me, feel that those who have been lucky in life should give something back to those who have not been so fortunate. And I really haven't been disappointed in that goal, because I've made so many new friends through what I would call my Rotary family. And many of those friends are here today. And it's just been fabulous to get to know you all. So fast forward to 2017 and it's 2018, I believe, and President Colin at the time called me for a friendly chat, which he'd never done before, so I should have been suspicious that something was up. And out of the blue, he suggested that I should be put myself forward for president of the club. And in typical Collins style, he generously gave me 24 hours to let him know that I decided to do it. So here I am, speaking to you all over Zoom during what is an unprecedented time, not just for us Rotarians, but for the entire world. I mean, let me be clear, at this point, I had not planned for this eventuality that we'd be doing this. It really kind of took me by surprise as much as you all. In fact, I didn't really take COVID very seriously at first because I was in South Africa in February, for the early part of February, and I just got lasered in the forehead as I arrived at the airport, and that was it. So I thought nothing of it. And then 2 weeks later, went off to India. I was there for a couple of weeks, and it was very different there. I sort of felt like Cortez and the Aztecs. You know, these people just ran away from me. They just didn't want any. You know, I was carrying this disease that, you know, and it was kind of really strange to see Indians react like that, because the moment any Europeans came anywhere close to them, they were out the door. And in fact, in the hotel that I stayed in Jaipur, they had 70 rooms in this really nice converted fort. And of the 70 rooms, only 2 were occupied, and we were in one of them. So it was really strange times. And I was there, not really keeping up so much with the news. In fact, I was kind of very much focused on the stock market because it dropped so much, and I was trying to frantically buy shares from various airport Wi-Fi lounges and that sort of thing. And really, COVID wasn't such a big part of my thinking at the time. And in fact, while I was in South Africa, I'd set up a meeting over WhatsApp with John McGrath, who spoke to us a couple of weeks ago, live from South Africa, and he helps underprivileged children in townships improve their lot in life by creating gyms and schools and this sort of thing. So when COVID hit, all of that changed, and that was one of my big plans for this year. So it's really strange times. So, but I do want to reiterate. I do want to just step back for a minute and just remind us all that although these are very difficult times for us, I'd just like to remind us all. Just step back for a moment and just count our blessings in life, because we are very lucky. We live in a first world country where it's all mainly secure and happy. We've got food in the fridge. We've got access to world-class medical facilities. Our children and partners are mostly happy and healthy. So no matter how difficult we think life may be at the moment, I always do try and remind myself that the vast majority of the global population would very gladly swap their problems for ours. So I think it's just worth bearing that perspective in mind as we go forward. So really, what perspectives do I bring to the club? And let me just tell you a little story. I was born to first generation immigrants, and I grew up in Highfields, around very normal working class people. My father taught me very early on to work hard. And during the summer holidays, aged 12, I distinctly remember him dropping me off at one of the factories in the old Imperial typewriter building that is now so much a focus on the national news. And the boss, who knew my dad, said simply, "What am I supposed to do with him?" as my dad drove off down the road and left me at this factory to just get on with it and do some work. He didn't want me lounging at home during summer holidays. So I spent the next 6 weeks folding clothes and working in that place. So I know intimately what it's like in there. And it's not pretty. So the stuff they're saying in the news about these people packed into these poor conditions is absolutely right. And in fact, my claim to fame during that period of my life is that Roger Cook, do you remember Roger Cook from the Cook Report? He actually led a raid on a nearby unit looking for slave labor. But in fact, they raided the wrong factory, and then they found somebody there making fake garments, so they busted him instead. So luckily I got away that time, but you know, it was one of those sort of interesting places to live and work. So, as I said, I've been one of the lucky ones in life, and I'm certainly looking forward to doing my best to serve the club and to serve the members. So, my motto for my year will be talking less and doing more. And this reflects my realization that the majority of my time really in Rotary has been spent on administration and meetings and things like that, things that I really kind of want to reverse, because a very tiny proportion of my time goes towards active engagement in the community, which is what I really want to do. So that frustrated me when I kind of sat down and did those numbers. And that's going to be a big part of my year, is just getting out there, getting us out there as much as we can, as safely as we can, given obviously the restrictions that are placed on us. So, and the other thing is we really can't afford to be complacent anymore, because at our current attrition rate, I predict the club will be no more in 10 to 15 years. And so really we either adapt or we disappear. It's really that simple. So looking at the club, looking at what do I have to work with and what do I need to build on? Well, as a club, we have an excellent reputation. We're sustainable. We have strong leadership, both currently, I think, and for the next few years. I think we're very well organized, and our members, I think, are very passionate and dedicated. I think the reason we're well thought of amongst other Rotarians in the community is because very much down to the hard work of the many Rotarians that have passed through our doors. Sadly, many of them aren't with us anymore, but I do feel it's my duty to carry on the proud traditions of this fine club. And I also think it's important that we build long-term sustainable strategies for building the club and its members. So, and I very much think COVID is the kick in the backside we needed to innovate how we do things. So the key thing about getting young people interested in anything is it has to be fun, and it has to allow them to connect with other people like them, other young people. That's what they want. And so I kind of sat there and racked my brain when all these kind of restrictions started to come into place. What can I do that would allow us as a club to do things that serve our purpose, but within the measures that we're now restricted by? And so John Saunders and Paul Bonnet kindly pointed me to something called Rotary for Food Banks, which I hadn't come across before. It's an initiative from an adjacent district. And I think it's a wonderful initiative because it works to support local food banks. And I think given the current economic climate and what we're, I think, likely going to be seeing for the next couple of years, I think food banks are really going to suffer big strains on their capacity. And so I think it's important we do what we can to help in that regard. You may also recall the excellent presentation from the Robin Hood Army last week. And I've actually spoken with them since then. And just to remind you all, within 5 years, they've gone from 0 volunteers to 60,000, and they've helped serve 32 million meals without raising any money or donations whatsoever. So it's a really fascinating organization. And so they were convinced they couldn't do anything in the UK. I managed to have a think about that. And I think there is a way to do what they do in the UK, except not being involved in hot food and other things that might cause us problems. So in a way, that's perfectly legal and would allow us to potentially build a community of young people like they've done, young volunteers, which I think would be very valuable for us, not just from the perspective of carrying out projects that we have as a club, then we can have this potential base of young members, but also graduating some of those people into becoming members of Rotary itself. So they're the kind of two things I've really got in my mind at the moment. The current restrictions around COVID don't restrict us too much, but I do think we need that volunteer base. We need some volunteer base of young people to get out there at the moment, because they're the ones who would be able to and would be happy to. So I'm very much working hard on that. I'm talking to young people, getting very good feedback, very positive feedback on those two initiatives. I'm also going to be approaching other clubs locally to make this happen. I had a very good discussion over the weekend with some members of council, including Chris, Scott, Barry, and we had some very good suggestions raised on how to move this forward. So what do I have planned for the year? We have a number of things that we're trying to get in place, again, with as best around the restrictions as we can. So for example, Tara Pankania has kindly put herself forward to help run a curry night. Scott's working on music in the park. That's about 11 months away, but we're trying to get that penciled in as soon as we can. I'd like to run an online family quiz because it's something that I think would be great for raising some money. Lots of people now are very used to the idea of smartphones and talking to the people through them. So perhaps 6 months ago, it might not have been possible to run it, but I think now it might be. I'd like to explore that and maybe make it a regular thing. Maybe raise a bit of money that way. I'm also exploring the possibility of a golf day to raise some money as well. Not sure about, I mean, I believe that, you know, we'd be able to do that again once the current more stringent restrictions are lifted. I've got other ideas, such as I'd like to run an online Santa Claus during Christmas. There are, believe it or not, it's very popular in America, and people are very happy to do it. So I don't know how the present side works. I guess the Santa sends the presents beforehand. But anyway, you know, it's something we should try. I'd love to kind of try some of these weird and wacky initiatives to try and help the club move forward and adapt. One of the things that I felt very strongly about is improving the perception of our club amongst the community and online. And one of the things I wanted to test for that was putting out video content. So that's something I did a lot of in my business, and it really helped just get the word out and sort of brand awareness and that sort of thing. So you might have seen Richard has been very active in giving updates via video. I think you've given Richard maybe 6 now. And they've been immensely popular. I think overall you've had something like 1,000 views and comments and recommendations. And that proved to me that if you're able to put out good, relevant content, so we're very lucky. We have speakers, and we've been recording those talks, and we've been putting those videos out online. They get shared, and people get to learn about the club and what we do. So, given the restrictions that we're under, there's nothing stopping us to at least move in those sorts of directions and continue to get the word out there as to what we're doing, and we're active, and our club is there. So, what else have I done aside from the videos? I've also subscribed to Google for Nonprofits, and I think this is a bit of a game changer, because as a Google for Nonprofits qualified participant now, they've given us £10,000 per month in free advertising via Google AdWords. So many of you will be users of Google, and you'll have seen adverts appear. So for example, if I typed in again volunteering in Leicester, we can have our advert appear there now, and people can click on it, and it's all for free because we've passed their checks, and we're now accredited for Google for Nonprofits. And there's no cost, there's no obligation. So it's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. And actually, I only got to learn about it because my friend works for Google, and he recommended that we should apply, and we did so. And we're now able to spend that money. So I'll be talking with Diana, Scott, and other members to move that forward and get some advertising going to raise our profile. But my utmost priority at the moment is your safety, because I do know that members want to get back to meetings, and I recognise that the online version of this is stopgap, I guess, and it's something we're having to do because we don't have a choice. But as soon as it's safe for us to do so, as you would have seen from an update that Barry sent, after we spent a lot of time looking at how we could run the meetings. So we are working very, very hard to make that happen again. And so as soon as it's safe to do so, we will be going back to physical meetings again. But even once they're running, we will be looking at finding a way to use this format alongside the physical meetings as well. So we'll have a computer in the room facing the audience, and then so members who aren't ready yet to join, they can still interact, ask questions. Hopefully you can hear what's going on in the room. It might be a little bit cranky for the first 1 or 2, but bear with us. I'll find a way to make it work. So, and finally, just before I end, I've also learned in the last couple of years that the committees are the unsung heroes of the club. And I'd love to, I want to acknowledge and recognise all the committee members who do such a fantastic job in the background to keep things running smoothly. So thank you guys for that, and it's really appreciated. So it's going to be a year of hard work for sure, but I hope also some fun along the way. And I hope you're all ready to join me and your fellow Rotarians to do what we do best, which is service before self. Thank you. Okay, at this point, I'd like to bring Eddie Pearson up to say a few words.
Thank you very much indeed. Hope everyone can hear me okay. First of all, thank you for the warm welcome I've received from all of you. I can tell you that this is my 11th club assembly out of 13. I am new to the area, but I've been very impressed with the amount of work that's gone on, the fact that people are ignoring, in a sense, the handicaps we're working under at the moment, not letting it get them down, and they're using their time to plan purposefully, as you are, for what's left of this year and how best we can use it. So first of all, just a few throwaway comments really, because a lot of what Palmer has said was actually down for me to promote anyway. So I think that shows a lot of togetherness in the planning stage of everything. Your membership's extremely healthy. It's nice to see you not wanting to rest on those laurels. You're quite right, Pomdy. We need, as an area, to get more people, more younger people involved in Rotary, because they bring with their youth an energy, an enterprise, fresh legs, new ideas, all the things that we really treasure as we move Rotary forward into the next 10 years or so. And you're quite right to ask the question, as I've said to several clubs so far. But you guys have spent years in Rotary. You've raised tens of thousands of pounds. The question that we need, all of us, not just in Leicester Rotary Club, but all of us across the country, what is our Rotary legacy going to be? We cannot sort of rest on our laurels, but we've got an awful lot of experience. We just need some youth in there in terms of Rotaractors and interactors to bring through into our echelons of membership to show that and to ensure that the work we have done and the work you have done isn't left to go to grass. So I applaud you on recognising that, and the work you're going to do in terms of the environment and things in Leicester, the city of Leicester. Continue to ensure you've got a Rotary footprint there and that you've got a visual presence there and you're able to get across and break down the perception of Rotary through people in Leicester. Let them know what it is you're doing, the work that you have done, the results of it, the fruits of it, and they too can be a part of it. Because as past District Governor Rodney has said, and it will be repeated by Peter Berry, the new District Governor, the streets of Leicester are full of Rotarians. They just don't know they are. I think that's a very important message to get across. If you can get relationships with local schools, secondary schools, that will be the breeding ground for the interactors and Rotaractors of the future. So that's an important area that you need to be looking towards, I would suggest. Robin Hood Army sounds amazing. Again, I've been, as Rodney will tell you, in the past year, I've been pushing this idea that get volunteers involved with you in what you're doing. Things like crocus planting, etc. What better way than to decide on someone's quality and suitability for Rotary membership than by working alongside them, side by side, planting bulbs, etc. It's certainly a way forward in terms of recruiting volunteers, because your regular volunteers, if you like them and they like you, they'll very soon want to be members. And I think that's a very important area as well. Around my virtual tour of Area 7, as it's had to be in this last 2 months, mental health issues have come up quite strongly in people's forward planning. Maybe that's something you also would like to think about, because we've all been locked in for Lord knows how long, some of us for even longer. More and more companies seem to want to have their workers working from home, but that's all well and good. But what about the mental issue side of standing side by side working in an office with somebody that may well not be happening? So that's something that I think will need to be looked at. Getting back to what Chris said, which was extremely enlightening for me, because I wasn't around when Nigel Aaron was doing his work with you. But it's clear that your Rotary torch has shone brightly in the murk that is COVID, and that's you've to be applauded for that. All of you, committee members, ordinary members, and Chris with his leadership style, which has been extremely forthcoming. And you've worked on relationships that have been forged over the years and used those to positive effect. So my last words would be carry on the good work. Palm Deep, the torch has been passed to you. It's in safe hands. I know you'll get a lot of support from your members, and the experience that they've shown in the past will be a great assistance to you. You certainly have my support. I wish you really well in your future year. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Much appreciated.
Pleasure.
Okay, at this point, just to, I think I'd like to have everybody unmute themselves. I can't seem to do it here. I can mute you all, but I can't unmute you all. Okay, so it'd be nice just to, yeah, there should be a button on your, usually the bottom left, just to unmute yourself. So attendance today is 30 members, and on our next meeting, we have Mukhtar Mohammed, who will be speaking to us about his innovative Leicester-based technology business. So I thought it would be valuable to hear what young people are doing, given that it's the SMEs like his that employ many people, and they're just not very well recognized. We hear about the big companies, but what about all these small ones? So I thought it'd be good to see what they're up to and how they're using technology. Yeah, it'd be nice to kind of have your support. I'm very much looking forward to my year, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you very much.
See you.
Bye.
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 Well done.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye.
Thank you, Palm Deep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Palm Deep. Well done.
Thank you, Colin. Are you well, Colin?
Absolutely. Like everyone, I've developed into a recluse or a hermit. I don't go out, which is really odd. But hopefully, the situation is lightening somewhat. I'm busy building a brick wall at the end of the road to keep all those people from Leicester out of the coming to the county, but otherwise things are fine.
Great.
I think it's a great idea, the Robin Hood organisation.
Yeah, that's. Sorry, go on.
You will know that the Sikh and